Hey, what's up, everybody? Steve Schwartz here from LSAT Unplugged, joining you today to answer your questions about the law school admission process. I've gotten a bunch of questions in recent weeks about the law school admission process as a whole, not just the LSAT. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different and run through as many of these as I can. First off, folks are asking, quote, what are the key factors law schools consider during the admissions process? Of course, the biggest factor is going to be your LSAT score, followed by your GPA. Then you have the various soft factors like personal statement, optional essays, addenda, resume, letters of rec, interviews, and such. Now, it used to contain diversity statements in that list, but after the Supreme Court's ban on race-based affirmative action, law schools have revamped their applications to replace the diversity statement now with other optional essay prompts, typically unique to their school. Now, with some strategizing, you can more easily reuse those essays for multiple schools, but you may find you have to write more essays than you would have had to do in previous years. First and foremost, if you're still in college, focus on getting your GPA as high as possible. Then once your GPA is fairly set, you then want to switch gears and focus on getting the highest LSAT score possible. It's kind of odd, but your LSAT score weighs more heavily in the admissions process than does your GPA, even though your GPA is typically earned over the course of 3 to 4 years and your LSAT score could be earned in just a couple of hours. But that's the nature of the beast, and that's all the more reason to consider retaking the LSAT if you believe you could score better on it with another shot, given that law schools do not average multiple LSAT scores, but rather they only take the highest score. Then after that, of course, you want to focus on your application essays, personal statement, the optional essays and such. You may want to get help with those from an admissions consultant or an editor of some kind. At LSAT Unplugged, we offer those services as well, unlimited edits for all of your applications for all of the schools, every essay. You can check out the links below this video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd love to help you out. Next question. Can you provide tips for writing a compelling and effective law school personal statement? I find that too many students fall into the trap of laundry listing their resumes in their personal statement. You do not want to do this. It does not make for an interesting read. Instead, I always recommend choosing one story or experience and going as deep on that story or experience as possible. If you have other stories you also want to tell, that's totally fine. I would save those, however, for other essays. Choose your biggest and best story for your personal statement, and then choose other stories and anecdotes and other experiences for your other essays. You have many optional essays you can write, especially since, as I said earlier, you're going to have more of these essays given that schools have created unique essay prompts to replace the previous diversity statements. So you can tell more stories than just one. It's up to you to pick which one, and that can be a difficult decision to make at times. But of course, like I said, at LSAT Unplugged, we can help you out with this as well. Next question, what kind of extracurricular activities or work experience do law schools value in applicants? Of course, they're always going to love to see leadership experience. They're always going to love to see work experience as related to law, the practice of law, but you also don't have to have that experience. There are many, many applicants who've worked as paralegals, and while that does show, of course, exposure to the law, you don't want to be the 10,000th paralegal they've seen that admission cycle. If you are, that's totally fine, of course, but you don't need to seek out that experience just to have it on your resume. I would choose work experiences and volunteer experiences that you enjoy, maybe ones that pay well if you're looking for some side money, and also engage in extracurriculars in college that you truly enjoy. But anything that gives you speaking ability, writing ability will certainly help you in the admissions process, and law school admission officers do love to see that. How do law schools view applicants who've taken a gap year or have non-traditional backgrounds? They love to see it, especially non-traditional. They want to see that you have real-world experience and real-world exposure to the law. If possible, if you can get that through a gap year, or if you've been out of school for a while, that's great. And that can also give you more material to help you write those law school application essays. However, if you are coming direct from undergrad, that's also fine as well. One additional thing I should mention is that the longer you've been out of undergrad, the less law schools will consider your GPA, and the more they will value your LSAT score because your GPA from undergrad will have been earned a while back, meaning it's a little bit less relevant. So if your GPA from undergrad is lower than you would have liked it to be, but it's been a couple of years or more since you earned it, don't worry. As always, aim to get the highest LSAT score possible to help distinguish yourself as an applicant and to help offset that relatively lower GPA. What strategies can be employed to secure strong letters of recommendation for law school applications? I recommend, first off, asking for those letters as early as possible so that your recommenders have as much time as possible to write the strongest letters they can. I would also supply them with a list of bullet points or talking points for them to include in their letter if they might be a little bit fuzzy on their recollection of what your time with them was, either as a student in their class if they're a professor, or if you worked for someone a while back. Giving them some friendly reminders when you request those letters can help. So if you mention you wrote a term paper on this topic, or you presented on this in class, or you worked on this project at work, all of that can help them to include more concrete details in their letter to help them write the strongest letter possible. Next question is regarding interviews for law school. More and more schools are offering interviews, but for those who don't, you can request an informational interview via Zoom to help create a positive impression. All you've got to do is reach out to them via email and say, your school is my top choice, if it is, and you say, I just had a couple of additional questions I couldn't find the answers to on your website. Could we schedule a quick discussion via Zoom to address them? They'll always say yes. They're always happy to speak to applicants. Then during that call, you ask your questions, you share a bit about your background, create that positive impression, be friendly, be polite. They will then put a positive note in your file that, of course, can help give you a boost when it comes time for them to review your application. Next question is regarding early decision. So I have a unique take on this. I never recommend applying to law school early decision because you lose all scholarship negotiation leverage. If scholarships are important to you, which I imagine they are for the vast majority of applicants, I would always recommend applying regular decision, non-binding, so that you can negotiate and consider multiple offers. If you apply early binding, they have no reason to give you any money because you've already committed that you're going to go to their school if they take you. So I just would not do this. And when considering the cost of law school tuition, we're talking six figures, sometimes even approaching $200,000 for all 3 years considered. When you're considering the tuition, materials, housing costs, cost of living and such, it becomes a big investment. And in contrast, if you get a full ride to law school, you may even get a living stipend on top of that. So you could actually be getting paid to go to law school. And that, of course, is contingent on typically getting an LSAT score above the median of the schools to which you're applying. Okay, final question. What are some common mistakes applicants should avoid in their law school applications? The biggest one, the biggest no-no I could possibly imagine is using school A's name in school B's essay. So if you finish off your essay saying, and these are the reasons I want to go to Harvard Law, but you're sending that to Yale Law, it's not going to look so great. It's going to look careless. It's also a bit of an insult. So do not do this. I actually recommend that you avoid including a law school's name in your essay just because they already know you're applying to their school. There's no reason to mention the school by name, and it only creates the risk of that sort of mix-up I just mentioned. So anyway, folks, there you have it. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or need anything at all. I'm happy to help. You can check out the links below this video to find out more about my essay editing services and to book a call with me and my team. We'd love to help you out. As I mentioned, we offer a service where we give you unlimited essay edits for all of your documents, personal statement, optional essays, addenda, resume, and such for every single law school you're applying to. And if you found this video helpful, please do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to see it. Maybe you have a friend who's also applying to law school and they're at risk of making one of the mistakes I mentioned in this video, and you're sharing the video can help them avoid making that mistake and help them put together the strongest essays possible. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.